All right, here it is, Halloween night, and we've been bringing you special guests tonight, guest after guest, and we have another guest to bring. This person, he is starring on the Fox hit show right now called Sleepy Hollow. Let me introduce to you the world, the one, the only, Mr. Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing? Doing good? Doing bad? Doing indifferent? Maybe he's not doing good.
Maybe not.
Apparently.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
There he is.
What's going on?
What's happening?
I figured you knew. That actually, I don't know what's going on.
You don't know what's going on? All right,
I don't know what's going on.
All right, let's get you up to speed then. Let's figure out what's going on.
Please. Okay.
Let's start by introducing you. We're Totally Driven Radio. We want to thank you for coming on our show tonight.
I'm excited to do it. Thank you for having me.
Let me tell you how excited I am. You, and this is no BS now, you actually have one of my all-time favorite movie moments in cinematic history.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In The Replacements, in the jail cell scene, when you guys sing I Will Survive.
I'm not familiar with that song.
You don't like that song? Come on, sing it for me now. Let's get you back familiar with it.
No pressure.
I am both afraid and petrified right now that is your favorite song.
Hey, I didn't say it was my favorite song. But we're going to talk about this damn song now.
It was a favorite movie moment. Okay, you're right.
It was a favorite movie moment.
Actually,
Come on,
a lot of fun. The good news is I was so sick with the flu when we shot that scene.
You couldn't tell because that was a lot of fun. It looked like it was a lot of fun.
Oh, dude, despite the flu and all that, is one of my favorite things because nobody wanted to do that scene. Like, nobody.
Really?
Keanu hated it, Faison, Favreau, and they were furious with me that I was all of a sudden singing I Will Survive. So they basically were not acting. They were just, like, sitting there like, we are not doing this. And somehow the electric slide broke them down. It was actually a lot of fun.
Come on. Well, when you guys went back and looked at it, you guys had to laugh and think, all right, yeah, this is a keeper.
Well, yeah, I mean, we didn't see it until I never saw it until the premiere. I thought they were going to cut the scene. I was sure that, I was like, they're not going to use this. And, I sat there in the premiere and it came on and we all just sort of looked at each other and burst out laughing. We were like, that is hilarious. I was like, you assholes threw me under the bus in that scene.
Oh, that's awesome. That is freaking awesome.
Fun, man. That was fun.
Hey, well, we're actually based out of Philly, and I saw as I'm doing research, your father, did he work for the Phillies or he played for the Phillies?
Yeah, I was in the Phillies organization, so I think he was in there before he came up to the show, but I don't know if he went up with the Phillies. He was out. Phillies had a farm team in Long Beach, California, so I think he was out here on the farm team first. And then he got sent up and he got hurt. And then, by the time I came along, he was, coaching college basketball. So. Gotcha.
So you got involved in the entertainment business as a writer early on. Now, was that like your plan was to be a writer or was it always to be in front of the camera?
No, I mean, I was mostly doing, theater. I mean, doing, Othello, Shakespeare, and the like. And,
really?
And I started off as a Shakespearean trained actor. That's what I did, and my first job was on A Different World, which was a comedy, situation comedy, and I wrote and produced sitcoms, Different World rocks and that show, Rock Live. Did a bunch of Punch Up on the Ben Stiller show with Judd Apatow and all that jazz, and then I think we launched FX. Me and Jeff Probst and Tom Bergeron and Phil Kogan, that whole crew. And then I was on MadTv, and I was a writer-performer on that show, and then, found myself in the feature business, and that was that. So I started off kind of in drama, really, and stand-up was never really my path. I just did some movies that were comedies, but even the comedy movies came after the dramatic movies. So it's always been weird when people are like, oh, man, it must be so fun. You're so new in the drama. And I'm like, where have you been? it always cracks me up because I'm like, I started out on, I think the first two movies I did were Liberty Heights and Magnolia.
Yeah, because, well, I was going to say, too, like, even, like, now with you in Sleepy Hollow,
yeah,
you look different. Like, it's hard for me, because I'm used to seeing you in the comedy roles, whether it be in MadTv or The Replacements or stuff like that, or doing stand-up stuff. I'm used to seeing you being the funny guy. And then seeing you now, it's hard to picture because you are taking on a serious role, and it's like a shock to my
system. But that's what's so weird about it for me. It's like I started out doing drama. The first films I did were dramas. I haven't done a comedy in literally 7 years, and people are still talking about comedies I did 10 years ago as if that's all I was doing. So for me, it's just completely weird because I'm like, what are you talking about? Because it's such a disconnect to me. Because I'm like, I don't even know how to respond sometimes. Because they'll be like, "Man, is this your first time doing a comedy?" I'm like, I had an interviewer ask me that, and I was like, I would totally be. I said, I'm really offended only because you called me to interview me when I was doing House. which I'm pretty sure it's a drama. And then she said, "Oh, I'm sorry." I go, no. Then you called me again to interview me when I was doing Necessary Roughness and Men in Trees, which were also dramas. So I don't know what we're talking about. But for me, it's just like, I think it's a compliment, you know. It's sort of cool to me that, my comedic work has held up that long. So I'm like, I think it's cool, but it's still, from my perspective and only mine, it's sort of weird.
but you're also. Oh, go ahead, Bay.
No, go ahead, Nick.
Well, you're also sort of ingrained into American pop culture at this point as well. I mean, at least in my opinion, those 7-Up commercials are sort of legendary now. You know what I mean? I mean, as soon as I heard your name, I was like, oh, that's, of course I've seen Evolution, I've seen all these movies, but that's sort of beyond even the campaign that it initially was, right?
Well, it's kind of weird because I'm not sure that that's exactly true, but I do think it's really memorable because I think, like, 7-Up basically ran for a year, which was super fun, and I think I worked for 8 days. But I think at least for me, I only see it from, like, again, this is my crazy perspective, because Drumline is a drama and it literally is on every 10 seconds. I find that weird only because of how successful and pervasive that particular movie was, where I'm not even remotely comedic. I think the same is very much true of Time Machine, which, has its own thing simply because it's a remake of an H.G. Wells movie. So when I look at those two things, it just sort of seems weird to me because they're constantly playing somewhere in the world. And then, Replacements and Evolution and Office Space and Time Machine and, have all, their own sort of worlds in cable, but there are about 10 or 11 movies that are constantly on cable and have been so for a very, very long time. So it's hard for me to see 7-Up as more pervasive, only because it ran for a year, and these other films have been running now for 10 years, and there's literally 10 of them, and they're always on. And I only know that because I get a residual check. So, I'm like, oh, wow, they're still running that. So for me, I think those films have probably done more to ingrain in people's minds, my name and face than MadTv or 7-Up ever could have, because they're just not on as much as that grouping of movies.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, for me, it's just like those are the kind of weird sheer numbers. But I only see it from my perspective because I'm like, I know that those movies have been running and running and running because they're just always freaking on, and cause I hate watching myself, and I always turn the channel when I come on.
Wow. Now, how about like later on down the road, say 50 years down the road, when you look back at your career, what would you want to be remembered as? A comedic actor or a serious actor?
I don't know that I care. I think I like that people kind of make their own decisions and feel how they feel. Like I don't want to rob anybody of whatever their thing is. You know what I mean? Like I have like my reasons, but I don't think my reasons are relevant to anybody but me, and I don't think anybody else should have to change theirs for me. I kind of like the fact that people make their call, and that's the thing they like, and that's totally fine with me. And I feel really honored to have done as much stuff as I have, that I can look back, even at this stage and be able to go, wow, I've literally worked in every genre of entertainment, and I can almost point to something in every genre that somebody considers iconic. So it's nice to have 7-Up. It's like, those commercials, it's nice to have Drumline. It's one of those movies, and Replacement is one of those movies, and Evolution is one of those movies where people are like, oh, man, these are classics. Like, that's a huge deal to me because those movies are so not the same. They're not the same genre, not the same character, and they're not the same performance. So for me, that's really exciting to be able just to go, oh, wow, man, it's nice to be remembered for so much different stuff, and that's my blessing, and I'm like, I'll take that. But I definitely don't want to be telling people, remember me for this.
Yeah, right.
Super lame to me. I know guys that do that. I always think, man, get over yourself, man. Who cares?
So now you have the new hit Sleepy Hollow on Fox. Now, what when you went for the part? What were your thoughts about that when you read the actual script of it, with the whole idea of it?
Oh, I mean, look, the thing that was most exciting about the show was that I knew it didn't fit into a genre. Like, I read it, and I was like, this is not a procedural. It's definitely not a soap opera. I just covered everything in 1-hour television. And it's not a half-hour comedy, but it's really funny at the same time. So I was just like, it's biblical, it's historical. It really, I didn't know quite how to put it. And, I hear some people say, oh, it's got the kitchen sink in it. And I'm like, I don't think so. I just think it's, it's using all the tools to tell the story. And I look at it the kind of way I look at Tumblr, where I'm like, Tumblr's got hashtags, GIFs, memes, and all of those are used to tell a story. Twitter's one thing, Facebook's another thing, but part of the damn you enjoy about Tumblr, you can use all the different cool parts of everything in one place. I look at Sleepy Hollow in that way. To me, it's like I see it as hopefully, how other shows are going to start to behave, and it's kind of what I always loved about, Walking Dead and Alias back in the day. But I used to always say to myself, man, Alias would be like insane if it was funny. At any point I could laugh, you know what I mean? But I love the show anyway. So
you gotta love too. It seems like Fox is really behind it. They really pushed the hell out of it.
We couldn't have they were amazing, and they remain amazing. That's I've never seen a network get behind a show. Hell, they don't even get behind movies like this. So this was just like a wow, wow moment.
And let me ask.
Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, sorry about that. Let me ask you, from a writing perspective, when you're doing Sleepy Hollow and you're with somebody like Alex Kurtzman, right? He writes on that, and he's got some really, intense writing, in his background, and some of the stuff that he's done has been sort of epic for TV, stuff like Fringe and even Hawaii Five-0 and stuff. How is that on a creative level working with somebody like that?
This show is unusual in that I think it has one of the most pedigreed brain trusts I've ever seen. There's Bob and Alex, and frankly, I think when I look at Hawaii Five-0 and Fringe, I think great, those are fine. But I knew those guys when they were doing Xena and Hercules, which were some of my favorite shows. You know what I mean? So I was fangirling on that then, but I think it's hard to not look at them and also think of the new Star Trek, Now You See Me, Ender's Game.
Right.
They've been so prolific on a real level. So it's, he said this to me one time in press. Alex turned to me and he said, when I saw you come in and do Frank Irving, I thought I really want to write for that guy. And I don't think there's a bigger compliment you can ever get from, your exec producer saying, I want to write for that guy. So I honestly just try and make sure that I'm trying to, not only capture, what he had in his head, but sort of, bring another layer to it if I can. But sometimes just doing what they have on the paper is enough. And, Mark Goffman, West Wing is a super celebrated writer as well. Mark he's like five geniuses. It's crazy. And, Lynn Weissman is no slouch. So, I look at, the group of people that we're lucky to work with on it. It's amazing. I've never seen a group of writers like this on a show. I've never seen a group of producers. In fact, every television show I've ever heard of, when feature film people show up, they do the pilot and then they leave, and you never see them.
Right. Right.
So the fact that they were like, "We're staying," I was like, "What is going on in this show?"
Wow. Absolutely, and the fact that this is sort of a fantasy horror type TV show, this is just something, a couple of years ago we wouldn't have seen it be as successful as it was on TV, but that kind of TV show has really sort of blossomed in the last couple of years, and to see the pedigree that's associated with it is really just amazing.
It's shocking for us. I mean, we shoot a summer blockbuster every day. I mean, that's what our sets are like. Like we don't have, like, it's not like the show's all interiors as people are usually accustomed to seeing on television. We probably only have 3 standing sets. Otherwise, we're on location somewhere.
Wow.
So for us, it's sort of just like, my God, we are so in a big movie every day, and everybody's there. I mean, Lynn is always there. I mean, he's involved in all the monster creation along with Corey, who's our incredible makeup artist who did Pirates and all that kind of stuff. Like, we have a feature crew, we have a real, group of seriously pedigreed writers, and it's like a pipe dream, this show. I can't believe we're doing it. I can't believe they picked it up after, the pilot and 2 episodes aired. I thought it was a joke.
Right.
I was like, really? They picked the show up? Kiss my ass. They didn't pick the show up. They only had 2 episodes on. What's wrong with you people? I literally went online. Like, I completely, went online, and then I saw it. Like, somebody tweeted me about it, and I was like, holy shit, they picked the show up.
It's funny you were saying about, like, it's like you're on a blockbuster filming every day, because my co-host, Nick, he does, like, our TV segment. He's, like, a huge I call him the TV guru. He watches, like, 120 hours of TV a week. And we were talking a few weeks ago, and I had said, is it me, or does it seem like the TV production of shows like Sleepy Hollow and the new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they've really upped the ante in the production level, and they're making movie-quality TV shows now?
Very much, and killing the actors in the process. But you're right. I mean, I think there's fewer movies are being made, and the movies that are being made are almost like programming. I mean, either it's something from Marvel, or it's some kind of sequel, or it's a romantic comedy, or it's a horror movie. I mean, there's almost nothing else. Yeah. Or it's based on some existing brand. It's Yogi Bear or whatever. So, those are sort of the movies now. And so when you think of, people doing things that are a little out of the box or more creative or avant-garde or whatever, that really is now happening on TV. And I think up until this point, I'd say up until the last couple of years, really, it was really happening on cable and pay cable. Like, that's where you were seeing really cool, interesting stuff. And now you're seeing it on the web with Orange is the New Black and House of Cards and other, portals getting it into that world. And you're also seeing it, on network now with, Grimm Once Upon a Time and, Dracula and all those types of shows and Sleepy Hollow. So I think it's a really exciting time to be on a television show, because you get to live with that character more than just the 2 or 3 months or 4 months you're doing a movie. In success, you get to live with that character for years, and really, in a way that in a film you would never have the opportunity to. I mean, it's they did 3 Lord of the Rings, and we will explore more territory in 1 season of Sleepy Hollow than they did in 3 movies. And that's fun, and it's exciting, I think. And I think what Alex and Bob and Mark and Lynn, not to put words in their mouth, but one of the things that I hear them talk about a lot when we do press is that they're enjoying exploring all of these characters and exposing and showing you things that you would never normally get to see in one of their movies. So you'll learn on this show the backstory of the Headless Horseman, which I just think is stupid cool.
No, that's pretty awesome.
It's just that kind of stuff that on a film would hit the cutting room floor, but we're able to sort of really dig deep on all these characters. And I think that for me anyway, from an actor's perspective, and I guess from theirs, from the writer's producer's perspective, it makes it a lot of fun to do.
Now, you had said about shows on the web, and I saw you're doing a show called Tainted Love?
Yeah, I'm a comic book nerd. I wanted to do a comic book. I've wanted to do one forever. Part of the reason I wanted to be on MadTv is because I used to read Mad Magazine. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world, even though I didn't get half the jokes. You feel a little kid and you read something and you're like, I know this is funny, but I don't know why.
Right.
So Mad Magazine was like half of it I got, and some of the stuff was kind of over my head, but it made me go look it up to figure out what it was. And so I wanted to do Mad TV because of Mad Magazine. So I always wanted to do a comic book, and it just occurred to me if I was going to do that, I wouldn't draw it on paper and then try and sell it in the dying print business. I'd make it in digital, and I would make my graphic novel, frankly, in the digital world and have it be released first in the digital world. But to me, it's just my graphic novel comic book. And with that, me and 3 other nerds that are friends of mine got together and made Tainted Love. And it's super fun, and we just put it out. You go to taintedlovemovie.com, click on episodes, and you can watch all 6 episodes. And, it's about 40 minutes long, which is about the time it takes me to read a graphic novel.
Now, as a matter of fact, we have this discussion a lot on here about, because we all get into comic books and stuff like that, and one of the discussions we have is the old school comic books of actual print comics compared to digital. And my argument is I can't stand the whole point of digital comic books, because the whole point to me was to actually collect the comic. After you read it, you put it in your plastic and then put it in your big, long white box with the rest of them and go on to the next. And it's like now they're taking that away from the whole point of collecting comics.
It was tough because I kind of feel like you do. I like the collection element of it because it was kind of like baseball cards. It was just something it was something in your hand you could show to your buddy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And any kid who was really a comic book fan wasn't precious about it. You know what I mean? You rolled it up, stuck it in the back of your jeans, and rode down the street on your bike, and dude, and you had that conversation. So that was what was so hard about Tainted Love, because there's really something interesting. As you probably know, in comics, you have the cover art, which is always like really cool, and then inside the actual comic or graphic novel, the drawings are far less detailed.
Right.
So part of the problem for us in making Tainted Love was that every drawing had to be cover art. And in that 40-minute series, there's like 150 pieces of cover art.
Wow.
So for us, it was and the only way to do it was to go back to the old school way and draw it by hand, work with somebody, come up with the style that you do it, and then actually draw it, and then go from the physical piece of art and make it come to life. And I think it was probably the most fun thing about making it, because we didn't lose, the thing that you're talking about. We didn't lose the art. We found, we met a bunch of artists, we found the style, we did it, and we still built it, even though it's in digital, from the art. And I kind of feel like, like you, I feel robbed when people don't do that and they just call it a graphic novel. I don't see any elements that have to do with somebody who sat there and had to draw that by hand. And, it's the thing I'm most proud of in Tainted is that, that art was drawn by hand. It is 100% authentic, and we're gonna get a chance to give it away to all of the fans who like it for free, and they'll just be able to make the art into whatever they want, because we don't even want to sell it. We just want them to explore the world the way we did.
Now, with doing it on the web, do you think that's going to be the real future of, TV? It seems like more and more it's slowly starting to build, where more and more companies are putting out, or people are putting out webisodes.
Well, I would say the medium is no longer important. That to me is just an old idea. Nobody cares about the difference between movies or television or film anymore, as it were. That's just long gone.
Right.
It's totally, at this point, it's about connecting with the audience and what that audience has, and what they have is a phone in their back pocket.
Right.
And an iPad and a computer, and they are connected. And if you believe you're going to put it out and tell somebody they're going to show up at 8 o'clock, or they need to line up at this theater and go see it, there are those people who want that experience and go do that, but there are those other people who are just going to go, I got 10 minutes, I got an hour right now, I'm on a train, I'm going to hook up my phone or my iPod or my computer and watch it. And if I really love it, I'm going to go back and watch it on my big screen in my house or whatever. So, I just think that to give the audience that choice is really a 21st century idea, as opposed to trying to pretend that, it's 1960 and, we have to do stuff because people tell us to.
Yeah, good point. How about stand-up? Do you have any stand-up dates coming up at all towards this end of the year? Or?
Yeah, which, I did a bunch in the beginning of the year, and then I just got buried with this on the work side, and now I'm going to probably try and do a couple of dates before the end of the year. We're talking about doing a New Year's date and doing some stuff beforehand, and frankly, my shooting schedule is crazy. We're doing 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, so
wow.
The shooting schedule is so insane it sort of took me out for a while, but I'm definitely going to do some dates before the end of the year because I miss it, and I just there's something about being on stage that's just amazing. So yeah, as soon as I can, and what I'll do for sure is I'll hit you guys up and let you know when. So if you're in the area or whatever, you can come down.
Awesome. Yeah, as a matter of fact, you kept mentioning MadTv. I'm going to be going down and see your old buddy Artie Lang Friday night. He's doing a book signing in Philly.
Get out of here. That's hot. Yeah. Tell him I said what's up, man. I've been on his show a couple of times. He's such a great guy. One of the funniest people I know.
I'll tell you, you know what? He used to tell the stories on Stern about you guys, and he would always, I felt bad when I put Orlando through. And then I just saw, I guess it was maybe recently you did his show? I saw something on YouTube. Yeah, I did it this
year. Earlier this year, I did it, and I was playing Gotham in New York, and I was launching Access Live, Mark Cuban's Access Live comedy thing. I was doing that, and Artie was supporting because he was going to do it too. But I did the first one, and I went on his show.
That's awesome. He's such a good dude. So, yeah. I've never met him yet. I've seen him do stand-up, and I just look at him, and I just want to give the guy a hug. For everything he's been through, I feel like he needs a hug.
He's had a tough ride, man. And, the thing that people I think don't get about him is he's super smart. Yeah. And people just think, it's just some, big Italian guy, who's some brickhead dude who doesn't know anything. But, he really went to work for his family, when his father had that horrible tragedy. And,
right.
He's just a great dude. He's a great dude.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I'll say something to him Friday night. That would be funny.
Yeah, please do.
I will. What else we got? I think that's about it. Nick, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah, let me just, getting back to Sleepy Hollow a little bit, I was just curious, and I know you can't let a whole lot slip through and spoilers and all that, but are we going to get to see a little bit more as far as Irving goes and backstory and everything like that?
Absolutely. You will see. The good news is, we got preempted by the World Series. We're back next week. The guys decided they wanted the show to be bigger, which kind of surprised me because I kind of thought it was big enough. So they started ramping it up. So the best news I can tell you is everything you've seen so far is set up for what you're about to see, and it's about to get stupid.
Wow. Now, do you have? I read that John Noble is coming on to the show as well, and I of course, I don't want to give anything away, but did you get a chance to do anything with him, or do you guys have any scenes together?
Did Johnny and I see each other? We crossed paths. We might. I think we might. The truth of the matter is, you don't know where this thing is going at all.
Right.
And by the time we hook up and have this conversation again, it's going to be a lot more fun because where it's going is insane in the best of ways.
Excellent.
This was the conversation I had with Tom and Nicole like 2 days ago. And this will tell you everything, and I'll shut up. So we got the new script in. Get the script, we read it. Nicole calls me. She says, "Yo, did you read the script?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Did you see that coming?" I'm like, "No." I said, "But I didn't see none of them coming." It's like, I know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. But every time we read the script, we're like, holy shit, this is amazing. So we know what's going to happen. And when we get the script, we're like, this is insane. Like, this is super cool. But they're so in it, and they did so much time building the mythology in this world before we ever started shooting. It's not like they're sitting around in a room trying to figure out the stories. They're sitting around the room trying to make sure that they even keep us on our toes. So I know we know what's happening, and it's amazing. So I can't wait for you to see what's about to go down in Sleepy Hollow.
I can't wait. It sounds great.
Yeah.
Now, is that how it would usually work? Is like you wouldn't have like any idea what's going to be happening in the script coming up, and then you get the script, and then bang, it's like, oh my God, like wow.
No,
this is
that's
awesome.
what's so weird. We know what's going to happen in the script coming up, but when we read the script, we can't believe how we got there and how it actually happens.
Wow.
It's like somebody
That's
saying
awesome.
to you, yo, what's your favorite football team?
The Eagles.
Thank you. So,
Yeah.
it's like somebody
That's
say,
a joke, though.
the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and you go, cool, and then you go watch the game, and you're like, did you see the second? Did you see what happened in the third? And then the way it's going on. Like, we know what's happening, but we're still like, we didn't expect all of the other things to happen while it happens.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. That sounds exciting.
It's truly, truly exciting. I've never had this experience before in a movie or a television show, and I've done my fair share of blockbusters, so this is truly like exciting. I mean, I am more proud of this show than anything I've ever done in my career. So I'm really hoping you guys
you sound like this is like your true, the happiness, the true, the peak of what you've done so far.
Well, I'm a fan of it. Some stuff I did, I don't know that I was such a big fan of it. And sometimes, I like the character, but I don't know if I liked the world the character was in. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
This is the first time where I love the world a lot, and I would watch this show no matter what. And so having this character and getting a chance to play him in this world is a lot of fun, because I love the fact that he's not funny.
Like I said,
it's
still hard for me to. I keep waiting for you to break down and crack a joke or something, or sing "I Will Survive."
By the way, I think we all will probably be hoping that we're singing "I Will Survive," because on this one, anybody could die at any time.
Now, what night is it? Is it Monday nights or Friday nights it's on? Because they were like bouncing you guys back and forth.
We're on both.
Oh, it's both.
Yeah, the show airs Monday at 9, and then it comes on Friday at 9. So that's the encore presentation of the Monday show. That'll happen for the next couple of weeks, and then Bones will move to that slot, and Almost Human, the new show, will be on, and Sleepy Fridays will go away. But it was just because they wanted to give audiences a second time to watch the show since the material is so dense. So Mondays at 9 is our time slot, and then they will be rerunning it on Friday for the next couple of weeks, and then you'll have Bones and Almost Human.
Awesome. Yeah, they're really hyping that Almost Human show big time, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Well, Orlando, thank you so much. Before I let you go, though, I want to ask you if you can cut a quick ID for me to use for later.
Say it again, I'm sorry?
Can you cut a quick ID for me so I can use that for later?
Oh, yeah, dude, sure. Whatever you need, just tell me.
This is Orlando Jones of Sleepy Hollow, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
It's Orlando Jones of Sleepy Hollow, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Thank you. Awesome. And come on, let's sing "I Will Survive" before I let you go. Come on. At first I was afraid. I was petrified. Come on.
Put your back into it. Come on, you can do it.
Somebody's petrified.
I am.
Right
my back's into it. I got my chest pumped out. Come on. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side.
You are about to get the entire world mad at me. Sleepy Hollow is the biggest show in London in the last 10 years, and I literally now have to call London, Latin America, and Thailand because those are the next places we're launching.
Yeah, but you won't be singing for them.
This is true, but I'll be late if I sing this song with you.
All right, man. Hey, thanks again. Yeah, let us know what the stand-up dates you got coming up, and we're behind you. We're Team Sleepy Hollow. We're Team Orlando.
Hey, dude, it'll be great. I'm definitely coming down that way because I played the Laugh House about a year ago, and so I'm looking to get back down that way.
Cool. Yeah, let me know. I'll be there.
Definitely, brother. Hey, my best, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with everything.
Okay, bye-bye.
See ya. All right, everybody, there you go. The one, the only Orlando Jones of Sleepy Hollow, a.k.a. Clifford Franklin from The Replacements. The man, the myth, the legend.
Man, he got me excited for Sleepy Hollow, dude. Like, I'm super excited again.
Dude, that's huge.
Yeah, man, I can't wait.
He hyped that up big time. Like, he should be selling cars or houses the way he hyped that up. That's awesome. I wish he would have sang it. If he would have sang it, that would have been the best.
That's really funny.
You know he wanted to. Deep down, he really wanted to sing it. All right, everybody. Well, we're going to take a commercial break. Stay tuned because something's coming up after this break. I don't know what. Whatever order I put these interviews in, and I'll be live on the air too. But it is Halloween night. I hope everybody's eating a lot of candy, doing a lot of trick-or-treating, and having a lot of fun. So stay tuned to Totally Driven Radio.